Then, of course, we did the barbershop window shortly after that. That's where we did the window thing.
What do you think of that angle?
What do I think of it?
Yeah.
I think it was great. I heard Shawn say how he talked about that was his whole idea. That, and even said something about he actually thought of it for the Nasty Boys, that with him and us and the Nasty Boys or something. But Shawn and I had talked about that together for quite a while. In fact, we had so many different ideas on it, different ways of doing it. But I think it was great. I mean, I think the way, I mean, she had kids today, man. The little kids come up and talk about it, and they weren't even born yet. Like, how do you know it was on video? But it's still, for the people that saw it, like I could do independent shows now. Like the guys, the young guys, younger guys on the car, they come up and talk about that, in particular. Oh, I was so heartbroken when I saw that. That really had a negative impact on me, and all this stuff. I mean, so it was a hell of a thing. Like I said, I think Shawn took, not that it matters, but took the full credit. Like, oh, I was on my idea. I think maybe the window part of it, but I mean, we had talked about, the barbershop. We actually talked about several things that would have been great for the split, but when we got into the barbershop, we just kicked around there. Wish we did that on everything we did. We both would kick around, about this, that, for matches, for angles, for whatever. Then of course we got into, we did the split. Another thing that Shawn likes to tell, or I say the reason I say he likes to tell is just I saw it on the video joke y'all do with it, was how I kept talking about I had this a deal with the guys down in the NWA. Now you were asking earlier about the NWA. Now the only time I did contact anyone down there, I was told that they had no interest in bringing Shawn. They didn't like Shawn. There was too many guys that had heat with Shawn in the dressing room. And they also felt that Shawn, they said, I didn't understand this because it was always Shawn and I, but they said, felt too much like Shawn represents WWF. Whatever that, and I mean, we were never, I think we did have some singles. He had single matches with Flair, had a single match, a couple of single matches, one with DiBiase. So maybe, but that, I don't know, that's enough that they look at it like he represents WWF. We don't want him here. Yeah. In fact, I would think that would be a plus to pull somebody away and take them, still one of the guys. I think the real thing was he had a lot of heat with the guys down there. That's what I was told. And, I didn't, Shawn, we already had that little spat, and there wasn't anything else for him to think I was bullshitting him or something. So I wasn't going to tell him that, Shawn, I don't want you down there. So I told him, so there's nothing going there. But the way he tells it, I kept telling him, we got something. Then when we did that thing where we were calling in to quit, then I said, I was just kidding. I didn't ever call nobody, which makes it look like I'm a jerk off. And he makes it like, that's the reason he said enough, I'm splitting off from here. But I mean, what you just heard is actually the truth. And, but after we did the split off the barbershop thing, and there was one more little thing that I mean, whether this is true or not, I don't know, but I would believe Curt wouldn't tell me a lie on this, Curt Hennig. We did the barbershop. I had a problem. I got some legal trouble down in Tampa, Florida. But it almost worked out good because they threw me through the window. Then I was gone for 6 months. I was only supposed to be gone for like a couple of weeks.
Is that why it disappeared from TV?
Yeah, 6 months. I had to do 6 months house arrest. Down in Tampa, Florida, I was with a girl who was 20 years old. She worked at the Dollhouse strip club down in Dallas. She was with me this night. We were going into a place called the Yucatan Liquor Stand, which was a hot happening bar in Tampa. And Frankie Lancaster, I think was working the door. I don't know if it was him or a dude named Thumper. But it was one of the boys in the indie scene. They knew who I was, and they also knew who she was. Yeah. Angela was they knew she danced next door, so they knew she was underage. So they told me, said, look, don't let her get in no trouble in here, because she's underage, let us in. This little girl, man, she was a little spark plug, man, she was a little fire. She was probably 5 foot tall, big, just little waist, little petite thing, cute. But she would fight in a minute. And she went inside and went to the bathroom or something other, and it was a girl. I was talking to a friend I knew. It was just a friend, but it was happened to be a girl. Angela come out of the bathroom and see me talking to her, so we're grabbing out her cussing. Oh shit, stop. And next thing you know, the cops were right there, like, you guys come with us. And Angela's grabbing a hold of me, and she's like, don't leave me, come with me. Which I was going to, at her intention to, but I'm thinking, damn, what's going to happen? Because I know she's underage. And we get outside, and the cop wants to ask for ID. And she's like, in her little purse. You got a picture of this little petite girl now. She had that kind of top, it's like a tube top. Yeah. And this was back in the days when that pink and yellow and green neon stuff was popular. They had one of those tops on and a little skirt, little petite thing, cute. But she's in a little purse, and the cops want to open the purse, and she's like, keeps turning away. She ain't got an ID. I mean, she's faking like she's looking for it. The cop keeps trying to like turn and look around and see what in her purse, and she keeps turning around, and she reaches out and kicks him in the shin, and like shoves him away from her. And when she did, he picked her up like we call it back to belly back suplex. He slammed her down to the road. Now I'm standing right here, and he slams her down to the road. Then he grabbed her by the back of the head right here and banged her head off the road once. I mean, I'm sure it was a big continuation, but the once, and my reaction immediately was, I scooped him and snatched him right up. And I mean, it was like a reflex before I realized, oh shit, it's a cop, And with that, I mean, I'm going to put my hands right there immediately. I was like, oh shit. But at the same time, I just saw him slam this girl down the road, bang her head on the road, and then I remember I get my back. Somebody's jumping back, and I'm thinking somebody from the club, and threw the guy off. She's like bent over. It was one of those momentum things. He hit me and fling him over. It's another cop. It was another cop. Like, oh shit! And so I mean, I'm like, here, please stop. And so as it turned out, too. Now the cop's name was Hopper. He comes up to me, he's right in my face, yelling at me. He's like, I can't believe you're acting like an asshole like this. You're acting like an asshole. And you son, my kid's got posters of you in his bedroom. And wait till I tell him how you're acting like an asshole. I'm like, sir, I mean, you're beating up a girl, and it was the girl I'm with. And he's like, I hate beating her up. It's police protection. She can have anything in her pocketbook. As he ever beating her head off the road. He goes, see, that's what I mean. You're a smart ass. I can't believe you. So it goes on, and he's like, I may let you go. I ain't decided yet. I don't know. I just can't tell my kid I arrested you. So I remember too, the girl Angela, when they slung her down, she got up her top and flopped down. Now he was able to put his hands on her, slam her down, and grab her and do all that. And now her tits are hanging out, and she's like, "Could you please?" It's got her handcuffed and won't pull her top up. And she's, "Will you please pull my top up?" There's people coming out now, and he's like, "Oh, I'll have to get a woman to do it. I can't touch you." He beat her up, but he couldn't pull her tits back in her thing. But anyway, so that ended up, and then they come over. The guy just pat me down. He goes, "I'm gonna probably let you go." He passed me down. And he reaches in the coat pocket I got, and he pulls out a little packet of coke. And I'm looking at it. I'm thinking, I didn't know I had that. Oh my God, is that something I had? Because I hadn't that night. I was like, maybe that's something I left in there to myself. I'm thinking, I'm like, well, why the hell did I have that in my pocket? Why would I? And he's like, oh, that's what it's all about. Oh, that's why all this or whatever. And I'm like, I must have had to look like I was. And finally, Angie, she goes, "It's mine, sir." She goes, "I put it in there." And then he went over and screamed and hollered at her again. So he says, "Now he's gonna have to go to jail." Blah blah blah, all this shit, which I did. They arrested me for the possession of that and obstruction of justice with violence for snatching him off. Mm-hmm. And then with the police reports and everything, we got with her saying it was her thing and everything. They dropped the possession and it ended up being obstruction of justice and violence, which gave me 6 months house arrest. So I was gone for that 6 months.
That just coincidentally happened.
Yeah, right after that thing. So 6 months. But the cool thing, Vince called like a couple of times. Of course, he had a vested interest, I guess, right? Yeah. I thought it was just cool of him to call and check. He called a couple of times. How you doing? And it was not good, man. Because at the time, when I moved to Orlando, I was living with a girl I'd been living with for a few years, and we split up. And so I basically moved to Orlando for her. She was acting and modeling, so it was a move for her. I didn't know too many people in Orlando, so no family, nobody. So it was like, what do you call it? Solitary confinement into my house there. I was going crazy, And so Vince was like, he would always say something. Vince is very good about it. He says, just the right thing at the time, whatever's going on to help. And, usually we always tell them, just hang in there, don't worry, everything's waiting when you get done. Which I thought was cool. He made a few calls there during that 6 months. But then 6 was up. Came back to work. That's when it came out, the thing where it came out of the crowd, when Shawn with the mirror, where he ended up getting Sherry. That was the beginning of us getting back into our thing.
Was it difficult to work with Shawn after?
No.
Okay.
Shit, that was the easiest and the best matches. Yeah. By far.
Even personally, after everything that happened between you?
No, I mean, I was, for Paul Lee, is probably the only person's business that I really think, but I still like it. I mean, I get over stuff, probably I shouldn't. But yeah, I mean, everything was fine. I thought everything was fine anyway. I don't know, like I said, where Shawn's mind was, but no, it was, when you're working with each other and when you're doing what we were doing, I mean, we were going out and putting in 20-minute matches that had people standing for 20 minutes. And when you do that with somebody, I mean, bygones got to be bygones because you're bonding in a new way.